Welcome back to Medrash U'Maisa, sharing a story for this week's Parshas VaEira. Last week was the yahrzeit of Rav Dessler Zatzal, and I was reading a variety of things, both that he wrote and memories of people who knew him. So there was someone named Rav Yeshua Heller. He was a Baba Chassid, was very involved in building the Ponevezh Yeshiva. When Rav Dessler came from England, Rav Dessler first came by himself. His wife came afterwards, so he took it upon himself to help out Rav Dessler to make sure that he was comfortable. And one of the things Rav Dessler needed to do was his laundry. So he arranged for Rav Dessler to give the laundry to the laundry service of the yeshiva. They had women who did all of the washing that was needed for the yeshiva. And he noticed that Rav Dessler, when he gave in his clothes to be washed, would pour a little bit of mei bosem, a little bit of cologne on the clothing, because in case there was any kind of unpleasant smell to the clothing, he wanted to minimize any unpleasantness the women who were washing might have. So that is a tiny maisa, but I think that it's really something gigantic of showing Rav Dessler's thoughtfulness and the way in which he related to things. He also was very grateful to the women and expressed it to them. But that little idea of trying to minimize discomfort even a little bit, meaning they were probably washing hundreds of items of laundry. A person might think, what difference would it make that this little bit of laundry coming from this one person might have a pleasant smell as opposed to unpleasant? But he didn't minimize that. He realized anything he can do to minimize the discomfort of another is key. On one hand, it connects to this week's Parsha because we find that the end of Markas Tzvardeya, the plague of the frogs, so it says that the Egyptians piled them up, and then Vativa Sha'aretz, the land stank because of the smell of the dead frogs. Nothing that happened in the Makos and the plagues to the Mitzrayim was incidental. Everything was done with a complete cheshbon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu calculated exactly what types of punishments the Egyptians were supposed to get. And that idea of the smell was part of it. But perhaps more central to the entire story of coming out of Mitzrayim is the picture of Jewish leadership. Last week, we saw that the Shotrim of Bnei Israel received the makos, received the beatings, instead of those Jews who worked under them, and they later on merited because of that to become the Zakenim, the leaders of Am Yisrael. Rav Yechiel Meir of Ostrovtza perhaps expressed this in a very beautiful way. We spoke about him a couple weeks ago, was a tremendous masmid. He used every minute for his learning. He was a posek, he was answering shalos and tshuvas. And then later in his life, he became a rebbe of Hasidim, and people would wait online to give him kvitlach, to give him the notes, asking him to daven for the Yeshua, and that took a lot of his time. And someone mentioned to him, how can you do that? You lose so much time for your learning. So he answered as follows. He said, in the Gemara we find that there are people who say, Maya hani lon rabbanon. What do the rabbanon, what do the chachamim do for us? How do we benefit from their Torah learning? The Gemara answers, you want to see how you benefit from them? And the Torah describes certain averas where the punishment is one of lashes, of malchus, and it says, Arba'im yalkenu. It says he shall get 40 lashes. The Chachamim made a drasha, and the Chachamim said, there 40 means up until 40, and it's only 39 lashes. They saved that person 1 lash. So Rabbi Yechiel Meir asked, there are so many drashas of Chazal throughout the Torah, countless, why was that one chosen? He said, because a Chacham can have tremendous amounts of learning and make tremendous amounts of drashas, expounding on the Torah, but nothing can compare to saving a Jew from even one more bit of pain. That was how he viewed his world of leadership. So maybe be able to be zoche, to see and do what we can to save anyone we know, even from a little bit of discomfort, to learn from Rav Dessler that way of thinking and to try to look at things that way, and hopefully then we'll be able to smell the sweet smells, right, of Ava, Achva, and Shalom B'Reus, and be zoche to the Gula Shalema, and of course to the return of captives and to the victory of the soldiers who are fighting. B'mheira v'yameinu. Have a wonderful Shabbos.